Monsters. They inhabit the nightmares of childhood and the folklore of every culture. And now there are scientists who believe that monsters aren't just myth. They're real. There are bizarre creatures among us that can't be explained. Some of them have been captured alive. And many of them live in our own backyard. Since earliest recorded history, there have been monsters to strike a chord of fear in all of us. In the Bible, monsters represented pure evil. They took many different forms, but all had the same goal: to do the bidding of an unrelenting Satan. By the 1800s, the sensibilities of Victorian society gave monsters a human face, but their evil deeds were decidedly inhuman. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein became fictional folklore, but the strangest account wasn't to be found in the pages of a Gothic novel, but with our 26th president, Theodore Roosevelt.
In the late 1800s, the woods of this country, the wilderness areas, were wild and dangerous. President Roosevelt found out just how dangerous these wilderness areas could be. Teddy Roosevelt loved to hunt. He loved to chase creatures through the wilderness, track, shoot. One night he found out this wasn't as much fun as he thought, when his hunting party frightened a Sasquatch into the camp of two trappers. One of the trappers was killed, neck broken, body mutilated, half-eaten by what seems to be, for all intents and purposes, a Sasquatch. 18.5-inch footprints were found the next morning, and Roosevelt was discredited. He became obsessed with finding this creature.
This is a theory developed by world-renowned Bigfoot investigator Terry Albright, based on Roosevelt's own writings about his hunting experiences all over the world. Although Teddy Roosevelt never actually came face-to-face with a Bigfoot, Albright claims he was obsessed with stories of reported sightings and carried the fascination to his grave.
Now, if Sasquatch is out there and potentially dangerous if aggravated, how many other creatures or things that go bump in the night are out there that we don't know about?
This is Hollywood's version of monsters. Creatures designed to scare us, even horrify us with their bloodthirsty qualities. But Hollywood monsters are just as likely to make us laugh at our own fears when they're obviously men in silly rubber suits.
Hollywood pokes a lot of fun at monsters. But the fact of the matter is, we have unexplained deaths. The Pentagon must know. Therefore, why aren't we being told the truth about this creature?
Despite resistance, Terry Albright continues to search for proof of Bigfoot and other alleged monsters. One unlikely hotspot is Bishopville, South Carolina. Residents here have encountered a bizarre humanoid creature that's rumored to haunt the nearby swamps. On July 5th, 1988, the Sheriff's Department responded to a call from a man who said he had been attacked by a scaly, 7-foot-tall monster locals have dubbed Lizard Man. 20-year-old Chris Davis was changing a tire on his car when he heard strange sounds.
And after I finished changing the tire, I was putting the stuff in the trunk, and I heard a noise. I looked back. I see something big running toward me. So I shut the trunk and ran to the car. I heard a loud crash on the hood.
Something or someone had clawed the hood of Chris's car and ripped off the molding. Footprints that didn't match those of any known animal were found near the attack site by Sheriff Liston Truesdale.
This track was found in the woods not long after the Lizard Man story broke out.
No one knows what creature could have made this claw-like print, 14.5 inches long and 7 inches wide. There are alligators in the area, but no one believes the prints or the attack was the work of alligators or any other animal known in the pages of traditional biology. And yet each year, there are bizarre discoveries that drastically change our perceptions about life on Earth.
It scared me because of the traits it had.
Everyone believes that there is something here.
That thing went back that way, and I went that way.
Sound far out? Well, pandas were once mysterious monsters in China until Western zoologists tracked and cataloged them. Marine biologists estimate that there are over 1 million species of sea life yet to be discovered. In 1989, Woods Hole Oceanographic captured these incredible bioluminescent creatures, and no one knows what they are. Could these be real living monsters that somehow survived from prehistoric times? Experts believe the ozone layer is shrinking, creating climate changes. DNA may be mutating, and with unprecedented heat and drought, who knows what bizarre new life forms may be created by these atmospheric changes.
Coming up next.
Its appearance was just a large humanoid creature walking like a human being.
Our sightings investigators search for the legendary Bigfoot.
There is no possibility that could be a man in a...
From the Sci-Fi Channel.
A monster 8 feet tall, half man, half beast. Perhaps the elusive missing link between humans and apes. Since the first recorded sighting in 200 BC, creatures matching this description have been reported worldwide. But witnesses have caught only fleeting glimpses of the monster we now call Bigfoot. Is he, or she, real? From their office in San Dimas, California, Terry Albright and his partner Peter Gattila are obsessed with tracking down the legendary Bigfoot. For over a year, the team has been concentrating on a rash of reliable sightings in Sonora, California. Signs of the creature's impact on local business are everywhere. In fact, the residents have adopted Bigfoot as an unofficial mascot.
Travels up and down the West Coast, and it's in Alaska in the summertime and then comes back down here for winter.
Biggest thing is size and its movement. More human-like than anything, than any animal.
It had to be Bigfoot. There was no other answer.
Here, Albright and Gattila ask eyewitness Faye Milner to return to the site of her first Bigfoot encounter.
We got out of the car, and dogs started raising hell and just barking and sniffing and carrying on. So I just looked around. I thought, well, you know, maybe there's something here. Looked up here and saw 3 Bigfoots standing there.
During an examination of the forest, the researchers found evidence they believe confirms Bigfoot was there. And recently,
these branches way up here and up here. Now, some of these branches have been rubbed raw of bark. Places where things have been broken off, as you can see, through here. Not only that, below it, there is a path. Here is a branch which has been knocked off and walked over many times. Broken branches here, pushed down branches there. Something has obviously come through here regularly.
The evidence is similar to that found throughout the Pacific Northwest and British Columbia, and eyewitness descriptions are strikingly similar.
We could see them go behind that tree in through that opening, and then they were gone.
What I saw was about a 6.5, 7 foot creature, Bigfoot.
That's the scariest I've probably been in my life, to be that close to something and not see it and feel it. And the way it was breathing, I figured that thing was big.
Its appearance was just a large humanoid creature walking like a human being.
In the Himalayas, it's called Yeti. These tracks were found at the base of Mount Everest. The Chinese call it Fei-Fei, a 10-foot-tall creature whom they say has a taste for human flesh. Native Americans call it Oma. In Canada, it's Sasquatch. And in the western United States, we call it Bigfoot. October 20th, 1967, Bigfoot research pioneers Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin discover the trail of what they believe is an enormous Bigfoot. They gather what evidence they can, and deep in this pine forest, begin to feel an uneasy presence. They face a dilemma. How will they react if a Bigfoot actually appears?
We came around a bend in the creek where there was a downfall tree. At that point, as we came around the bend in the creek there, this creature was standing beside the creek.
Startled by the looming presence of the creature, the horses reared. Roger Patterson was thrown to the ground, but steadied his camera long enough to capture this legendary creature on film.
They encountered it very close, I think 20, 25 feet away, and Roger Patterson turned on his movie camera, ran after it as far as he could, and finally he stopped and it walked away.
Further perspective on the footage comes from Grover Krantz, a physical anthropologist at Washington State University.
Here is a cast that was made at the in 1967 at the site where Roger Patterson got a movie of one, and this is what I would consider to be probably an adult female. The creature has extremely wide shoulders, well over 3 feet wide, and I've done some measurements, and no human being at 6.5 feet tall would have shoulders and chest width to equal that, so there's no way they could fit their arms in the costume. I've gone through the whole film and reconstructed everything, the exact body movements and everything you can, and I'm satisfied that there is no possibility that could be a man in a fursuit. There's just no way around it.
If the film is not a hoax, then this is the moving image of a giant unknown species, probably female, as she passes alone by a river. Her slow retreat suggests no fear of man and no desire to make contact with us.
Films, videotapes, and plaster casts of giant footprints do little to satisfy skeptics who believe that Bigfoot is nothing more than hoax and folklore. Scientists demand more conclusive proof, and some believe that proof may be found in the fossilized jawbone of a species called Gigantopithecus.
In the late 1950s, an anomalous lower jawbone was discovered in China. Dr. Krantz believes this may be scientific proof that Bigfoot exists.
I've taken this jaw and tried to reconstruct what I think the entire skull would look like. This is what I've ended up with, that this is what the Gigantopithecus skull would have looked like. So I would certainly say the best guess as to what Bigfoot is it's Gigantopithecus still with us.
With mounting physical evidence from all over the world, Krantz believes it's only a matter of time before responsible researchers make the scientific discovery of the century, the capture of a living, unharmed Bigfoot.